So this is a interview, one of many interviews that I'll be doing with working copywriters in the financial niche. This is Kyle Milligan, a friend of mine. Ever since he got into the business, you started in 2017, correct?
October 2nd, 2017.
There you go. That's when you got into Agora Financial's copywriting bootcamp, correct?
That was when I got a job at Agora Financial, and the copy bootcamp started in January of 2018.
What are you all about, and what do you do?
So I am currently the copy chief at Wealth Press. I have a team of, anywhere from 11 like 14 writers, depending on what kind of contractors we're working with or freelancers who might be helping out on special projects. So what I'm about, I guess I can give you my credibility really quick. I came into Wealth Press and it was like a $11 million company in the year 2019. And this year, I know we've done over 40 million. So this is sort of like one of my weird quirks is I'm like one of the few copywriters who doesn't pay a lot of attention to metrics and stats and mostly things outside of my control. So like, I don't even really know all the revenue numbers for 2020. I know it's above 40. It may be closing in on 50 million this year between not just me, but like me and the team that I coach, which is all the writers at the company. And one of the things that's been a big driver for me ever since the days of Agora is I've always wanted my own team. And in that, one of my internal missions in developing a team is I've always had a sort of weird obsession. And I'll credit this book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. People should read that. But it gave me this appreciation for systems and processes from a nerdy level to like an actual, like almost like a spiritual level, where a lot of the things in your life are a process of habit. And the way you develop things comes not from like seeking to achieve a goal, but seeking to develop a process that the logical conclusion is the goal that you're after. I wanted to develop a sort of McDonaldization of process for copy, where you hand me a product. And this is something where I feel like I defer from most copywriters, or at least like the amateur copywriters who it hasn't clicked for them yet. But I don't really start at this whole big idea training. At first, I start at the product itself, and remembering that literally what we are as copywriters is we're salesmen. So this whole weight of copy is king, and that copywriters basically are the lifeblood of the business. It's too regal. It puts way too much power and pressure in the hands of guys who basically wanted to make money online, writing from their laptop. And they didn't come in like business-minded, business-savvy, customer-oriented, or customer-focused. They just wanted to make a big, fat royalty check. You want to basically develop a process for selling a product and not letting it get bigger than that. I've already started going off the rails about what I'm about. But like whenever you work in a big organization where you've got multiple teams, and this could happen if you're just like a freelance copywriter or something, and you've got to work with like a legal department, a design department, a video department. Whenever you come in with the copywriter who has copy is king mentality inserted in their brain, they just come in and create all sorts of animosity. And I found that whenever everyone kind of understands their role, that I'm here to sell this product, and a guru creates this product, and the marketers are the people who actually are responsible more than anybody for making the product successful at scale, not the copywriter, and kind of keeping everyone sort of like your role is a salesman to sell a product, not to have some super spirit bomb sort of big idea that like absolutely wows people and end of America and like everyone talks about you for centuries. That's 99.9% of copy. It's not that. It's just selling a product.
I come at it from the complete opposite angle, where I say that if you don't have the mental metal to actually be able to come up with the sort of lateral thinking that is required to create, big emotionally resonant packages, I don't even want to waste my time with you. I totally agree that, 60% of the copy, 60% of the sales that drive a business are not going to come from big ideas, are not going to come from ideas in general. It's mostly gimmicks, like big benefits, things like that, not necessarily big ideas. I was wondering if you could speak to that.
I think that there's just a value trade-off where if you have sound mechanical copy, I think I will win. And that's kind of like, you can look at my approach. With 11 writers with sound mechanical copy, you're going to have to kiss a lot of frogs with 3 like big idea guys who are going to have to cipher through all these failed big idea, these big swings, these big attempts. Versus if I give someone the appropriate principles to understand your marketplace and then just pick the weird thing about your product. Again, it starts at the product level. And even Michael Masterson writes about this in Ready, Fire, Aim. You come up with the USP, the unique selling proposition. Then it's the big idea. And from the big idea, there's a big promise embedded or something like that. But it starts at the USP. It starts at the product level. And most people don't start at the product. They start at reading articles and coming up with conspiracy theories that are tangential at best to what they're actually selling. Then you have a disappointing customer experience when they get in there and they say, that's not what I bought. What is this? Start at the unique element. So like before we started recording, I was talking about weekly blitz alerts. It proves my point. The whole premise behind weekly blitz alerts is there's these shadow blitzes. And when you spot a shadow blitz, you can make a boatload of money in 24 hours. Okay, so what is a shadow blitz? This guy, Lance, has an entire strategy. Lance Ippolito has this unusual options activity sort of strategy where he's following names that trade unusual options, and usually it's insider buying. It's always like the same companies that they're the usual suspects, and he's got a good track record of winning on those moves. But he has this whole thing. And every time I talk to him about it, like, that's the product we're selling, is that strategy. And every time I talk to him about it, I was like, how do you know? How do you know? That's basically, I'd ask him that. And he goes, well, you just know it when you see it. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't sell that. Like, why does that happen? Well, it just does. Like, why though? Why is that happening? And he's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess someone knows something that other people don't know, I guess. He had like 2 or 3 things that were his unique strategy. And I'm like, dude, you've got to pick one thing to the exclusion of all other pieces, even in a super complicated strategy. And that has to be like your unique thing. So for blitz alerts, he showed me this, a call sweep, which is where someone basically buys all the call options across multiple options exchanges. And I was like, I've never seen that before. Not only have I never seen it, I've never seen someone show me an alert for it before with a hedge fund trading sort of software. I was like, that's our weird thing. And I couldn't think of a word to describe this call sweep. The only thing that kept coming to mind was blitzkrieg, because it was like lightning warfare. It was like overwhelm, that you would buy all the call options available. Blitzkrieg was too bulky. I had to explain too much about what's blitzkrieg's origins and stuff, but I felt like everyone kind of understood blitz. I even had the first headline was the inside blitz. It was almost like a football analogy. But then it became shadow blitzes, which are like insiders blitzing the options market. And from there, I now have a theme. And this is sort of what you could call the big idea. But the idea is that when there's a blitz, you can get paid. So that's kind of like my big promise.
Yeah.
Right?
That's the argument of your sales letter.
Yeah. And I narrowed it down to one thing. When there's a call sweep, there's a good chance this is going to go up. There's a lot of other factors that Lance looks at, like moving averages, volume, all this other stuff that I can't put into the sales letter. I can't make that my core premise. When there's a call sweep, there's a really good chance that you're going to see a lot of money move tomorrow or in the next 36 hours, something like that. From there, now you have the kernel of a big idea, and I build everything around that central line. And a lot of copywriters eventually arrive at the same truth in one way or the other. Like if you look at Evaldo's 16-word sales letter book, he has this one belief. This new opportunity is the key to your desire and only available through my mechanism. So I, have the same sort of setup, really. Like when there's a shadow blitz, you can get paid. That's like my opportunity, but you need a way to spot them, which is what blitz alerts are. So it all ties together. You got these shadow blitzes, you need a way to spot those, and then you can get paid. I started with the interviewing of the editor about the product, the strategy itself, and derived from there a big idea. And so the technique of first starting with what are we selling, it's the whole process-oriented thinking. I'm not training you to come up with big ideas. I'm giving you a process so that the natural result is a big idea. Like it just happens on accident. You're not thinking or trying to get them. Like if I tell you to search and explain the one weird thing about your strategy, what you're left with is the big idea.
I recall from a previous time that we spoke together, we spoke about your process before. I believe you called that one weird thing what did you call it? The force of nature?
Yes, because I've been developing my own terminology, but force of nature is kind of like my new word for the opportunity. I'll elaborate on that just a little bit. A force of nature is, I kind of have this concept from The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield when he talks about the resistance. The resistance is like an immutable force that is always trying to derail you from your work. And it's neither malevolent or benevolent. It's not good or bad. It just is. It just exists in nature. So it's acting within its nature.
Mm-hmm.
So in promos, you need to identify the source of nature. It's neither good or bad. It's just acting within its nature to be what it is. So when there's a call sweep, you have insider buying. That can be a villainous act. It could be a beneficial sort of thing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't care about your opinions or feelings. When there's someone executing a call sweep, this person probably has a boatload of insider knowledge, and it's a signal that this stock is going up. The force of nature within there is that there's secret knowledge that this stock is going to explode. The force of nature is like a way of thinking about this idea of when there's a shadow blitz, you get paid. So with on-the-clock stocks, the analogy is when a stock goes on the clock, you can count down to big profits.